So when I was younger, I used to box. And last night, I was thinking about all the people in the world that's trying to survive in darkness. And right now in your life, you're fighting in the dark. And it reminds me when I was in 6th grade, I did a report on Muhammad Ali. And so, and just when I think about life and everything that I went through just to survive in the darkness, because you're fighting against suicidal thoughts, depression, discouragement right now. But I want to tell you and give you some ways of how you can survive and fight in this darkness that you're going through. I remember one of the things that I changed when I was going through this, darkness in my life. I was a, teenager, early 20s. One of the things that changed was the music that I used to listen to. See, I went from Jeezy to Jesus. Come on now. And if you don't know who Jeezy is, he's a rap artist. But I used to listen to him all the time. But at some point in my life, is that music didn't speak to me because I'm a, teenage girl, early 20s, and what he was talking about, it wasn't going to feed me. So a lot of times, guys, you're listening to music and things that's not going to feed your spirit. Because at some point, you're going to have to start feeding your spirit because your flesh is taking over and consuming you. See, the flesh, when we live in our flesh, it kills us. This is why we have to starve the flesh and let the spirit live and thrive. So that's one of the things that I changed was what I listened to. And, for a while, I stopped watching TV as well. And when you think about it, the things that we see on TV, a lot of stuff that we see, it doesn't motivate you. It don't give you life. A lot of things around us continues to produce death. So I started changing, what I listen to and what I watch. And most importantly, I changed the people that I was talking to. Because a lot of people that I was talking to, they were cool, but at the same time, they didn't have anything to feed me on a spiritual level. So at some point, once I was saved and I started, being in my Bible more, prayer more, and talking to God, there was a disconnection there. Because they no longer fed me. I was no longer on that level and they didn't have anything to give me. And another thing is a lot of times we are in environments that we don't want to get stuck in. And my whole mindset was, I don't want to be stuck in this environment. I want to do something with my life. I want to be somebody. And when you want to do something with your life and want to be somebody, you're going to have to remove yourself from the crowd, especially if this is a crowd that's not elevating. They're not pushing you to the highest. You see what I'm saying? And this is one way that I survived that darkness. I started watching things. I'm going to tell y'all something. One of my favorite movies back then was Ali with Will Smith. That movie, for some reason, it always inspired me and gave me motivation. Because it made me, it made me think about the life and how we're fighting in life to survive. Every round that we're going is every round, we hit, we take a blow, and we get back up and hit again. It reminded me of that. Just seeing him be the champ. One of the scenes in the movie when he came inside the building, he was like, "The champ is here. The champ is here. Ladies and gentlemen, the heavyweight champion of the world is here." I used to say that all the time because it just lifted up my spirits and it makes me feel like a champion to keep on fighting. Come on now. Because listen, think about it. A lot of us are in communities and circumstances in life that we feel like we're not going to make it out of it. And you don't see other people around you making it out. You know how that go. So in order for you to make it out, I'm telling you, you got to put yourself in other new spaces and listening to different people and different things. So your mind can stay clear. Because if you stay around people that can't see no further than their living room, you're going to be in trouble. Because everything about their life and everything about them, they're going to make you feel like you're going to be stuck just like them. So you got to exit yourself from things. Because it ain't going to speak to your life and where you're trying to go. Come on now. I'm telling you, this is what you got to do. You got to remove the things you listen to, that you watch, and the people you talk to. You got to talk to other people that will feed the dream and feed your spirit. And also, you got to stay in the Word of God. Because God's word will put life in you. That's what I used to do. I used to read my Bible because it taught me more about God and how He's able. You see what I'm saying? You got to know that for yourself. So when I read the scriptures and God talks about He wants to prosper me, that anything that I ask, He'll do it if it's in His will. And also just having that relationship with God gave me hope and gave me life. Because now I know that there's a power greater than me that'll make sure I make it out. Everything else around me, they ain't powerful. So you're going to feel stuck. But when it comes to God, you're going to feel like God is the all and number one. He's the one that's going to get you out. Because he the one that can strategize and get people to you. He gives you that confidence that you don't have. This is why it's important to have that relationship. Come on now. I'm trying to tell you. This is real life for me. I did it. I'm doing it. So I'm about to put my glove back on. Because this is the part where I'm going to teach you and tell you about how I started fighting back. The darkness that I was fighting. So back then, I used to talk down on myself all the time. I used to talk about how I ain't gonna make it. You know how we do, man. I ain't gonna, this, and that. You know, woe is me. But even though, I was so used to talking down on myself, but I was still reading my Bible. I was still praying. So, I was still feeding my spirit. I didn't realize how strong my spirit was becoming, the higher self. Because, you have that lower self that always talk down. I remember one day I was at work and I said something negative to myself. I was like, man, I ain't gonna ever get out. And then all I know is that I started speaking back to myself. I said, girl, be quiet. You don't even believe that. You know you gonna make it. Because look at where you are now. Look at how far you've been coming. And I said, just because you're not where you want to be doesn't mean you ain't making progress. Look at the progress that you're making, you and God together. Nobody but you and God. You got to take steps every day, man. You got to fight back in the dark. Even when you can't see, you got to throw a punch. You got to keep fighting. This is why I like that movie, Ali. Every round, you got to fight the devil. Every round, you got to fight those thoughts in your mind. Every round, you got to fight the people who tell you ain't going to be nothing, who don't believe in you making it. You got to fight. I'm here to tell you, you better fight back. Because if you know you want something in your life, you're going to have to fight. Because it ain't going to be easy. You better glove up and start fighting. Because that's what I had to do. So I'm coming here to tell you, fight back. Because you can and will make it with God. Anything's possible. Listen, change what you listen to, what you watch, and the people that you talk to. And if it is possible, be around people that uplift you, that motivate you, that show you that you can make it. Because you got to realize, you in this fight in life, either you going to be defeated or are you going to be the champion. The champ is here. The champ is here. Be the champion that you are.